I recently had the recommendation to look into monobenzone, and I really hadn't heard of this. Apparently there is a name for the specific, because monobenzone is basically what it is, but there are different brand names for this. It is something that is prescription based, but of course on the internet there are places like on Etsy and eBay and AliExpress that are offering to sell it if you want to make your own. And there of course are other ways of getting it without a prescription from people who have the prescription online as well. Right off the bat, I was pretty shocked because this is actually the product that Michael Jackson used to lighten his skin, whether or not he actually had vitiligo, because this is prescribed for people who have vitiligo. There's no other reason to prescribe it to anyone. It's just if you have vitiligo, because it permanently depigments. Basically it will kill your melanocytes. You will not make any pigment. So this isn't like lightening, where you will just have a different undertone and go down a few shades. This is completely devoid of color. You will have no color. So the porcelain white skin that you see on Michael Jackson, that is basically all you will have. And for people with vitiligo, it takes a very long time to reach that point, and for people who are using it who do not have vitiligo, it can take over a year to actually achieve that. And I will get into people who actually use this and what their journeys have been like. But for a lot of people, basically they end up actually giving themselves vitiligo from using monobenzone. So this is a serious product, and actually this is the only product that permanently whitens. There will be some issues with different spots, but for the most part you will have spots of skin that will never ever regain any type of color. Obviously the difficulty with this is that there are people who are using this who do not have vitiligo, which vitiligo, basically your melanocytes will not make melanin anymore, and it starts only in splotches. So there are some people who will have it. There is no cure for vitiligo, by the way. So monobenzone just kind of helps with certain areas, but again, it is a pretty long process. And I think some people, they basically will have the treatment mostly like for their face or hands, or just their exposed parts that have the vitiligo. I've yet to see anyone from head to foot who's like basically successfully used it. Again, this will not restore their skin. This just basically takes out the pigment completely. And again, it's very patchy, and there are no promises that this treatment will even be even on your skin. So it's very I don't want to say it's very dangerous, but because I didn't find that to be true. It's just that you yourself need to be ready for whatever you do to your skin, because it is going to be permanent. There is nothing you can do. There have been people who have started this treatment just to stop midway, and sadly there's nothing that you can do. People who do not have vitiligo, should I say. Let me make sure that I make that clear. People who do not have it, who have basically stopped, and then they wanted to basically fix their skin because it did not exactly do what they had in mind. So as far as like your self-esteem, I think it is more dangerous in that way, because you will be the one now walking around with vitiligo. And I feel really bad for the people who maybe they're buying it. Obviously if you don't have vitiligo, you're getting it from either someone who does have a prescription or from a company who is claiming that it is pure monobenzone. So I feel bad for those people who perhaps where they were buying it, they cannot get it, or maybe they can't afford it anymore, or perhaps something's happened, now the quality isn't as pure, and now they are stuck in this situation of having started this process that you can't really come back from. So just from the things that I found, it is very risky. Very risky. For a lot of people, they might even be better using hydroquinone, which when I was looking into the actual real stories of people who are using monobenzone right now, a lot of them did say that they had used hydroquinone for years, and they found that while hydroquinone will basically lighten the skin, because hydroquinone won't really depigment, there are chances where it can, but usually that's if you are using it improperly. It's just that with the hydroquinone, when they stop, that's when a lot of people will get darker than when they started, and that of course is something that even I have you know, found to be true which is why I do not mess with hydroquinone anymore. It's just not for me. You know, some people it works for, but hydroquinone, again, it's not permanent. You have to continue using it, and that's the difficult part, is, you know, continuing to know that you're going to have to use this cream for life. It's funny because a lot of people thought that monobenzone basically works like hydroquinone, and it's an ether of hydroquinone, but monobenzone is the basically one of the strongest skin whiteners out there. Like, it is the strongest of the strong. Obviously it's been FDA approved for a very long time. There is no rival to it. Obviously you guys have seen people with vitiligo, and you've seen people who have, you know, used this on their skin, and you know, basically it is intense. Like, there is absolutely no color left over. One thing that I read, I'm not entirely sure if this is true, but it was saying that people who do use this, because it basically kills the cells that make, you know, melanin, in that entire process, there is no way for you to get skin cancer after doing this. Obviously you would still have to wear sunscreen and things like that, but I'm not entirely sure if that's true. I have to look into it further, but they're trying to say this is a perk of it. Obviously these same people who are saying this are only recommending this for people who actually have vitiligo. Again, there is no cure for vitiligo, and this is probably going to be a very expensive and very long process. If you don't have it and you are trying to use it for all over body, you could perhaps go years with very splotchy skin. All in all, I will not be trying it. I am not really a fan of the, you know, porcelain look. I do enjoy you know, just lighter skin with different, you know, undertones, still having color in them. So this isn't something that I think I would ever be interested in. If you do know someone who has vitiligo, obviously that would be easier for you. Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy. Again, in my next video, we'll be going into people who are actually using this and what their basically journey has been like. You know, there are people who have been trying it for, you know, a year or longer. Some people who are still in the midst of like a 5 to 6 month journey with it, and it's definitely very interesting to see just what is happening and what the process looks like. I will say that usually they are mixing monobenzone, people who do not have vitiligo, who are just using it for whitening. It is interesting because they are basically using it and adding tretinoin to help basically with the process of having their skin shed. There's some people who have even used the yellow peel from SHC glutathione, which is it's a little bit weaker than the red, but not everyone can do the red peel. So I mean, both work, both are fully going to make your skin peel, but obviously they need help in hurrying the process along because their skin does not naturally have vitiligo, so it's already a very risky process. But it's very interesting thing. I'm just like surprised that I finally figured out what he used, because obviously his skin is you know, it's different. It's a different type of white, and so, you know, always wondered, but it's apparently monobenzone. It's been on basically on the market for like decades now, and it is still the leading you know, skin whitening topical. Like, there is nothing stronger than that. Like, this is it. We'll also talk about mequinol and how that fits in here. You know, the top three. What now we know monobenzone is at, you know, the very top. Hydroquinone, mequinol, all of those. We'll talk about those in the next video too.